Yeah, hello class. This is chapter 27. This is the third video, so part 3. And in this video, I'm going to take a look at warranty liability. The two types, there's both transfer warranty and a presentment warranty. We will look at each really briefly, and then we'll spend the last part of this video giving an overview of the defenses to liability. All right. Defenses will be continued in part 4, and we'll go into a few of the defenses in a lot more detail in part 4. All right, so let's get started with warranty liability. Like I said, there are two types. The first type is transfer warranties. So a transfer warranty is an implied warranty that is made when an instrument is transferred. Okay, being transferred to a transferee, to the holder who is taking it in good faith. What kind of warranty is being made? Well, I've laid it out there for you under 1B. So there's 4 points to this transfer warranty. Number 1, the transferor is warranting that he or she is entitled to enforce it, the instrument. Number 2, that the signatures on the instrument are authorized and authentic. Number 3, there's no defense or claim that's been raised against collection. Right? And number 4, there's no knowledge of a maker's or acceptor's or drawer's insolvency. Right? None that's known of. Right? That's what's being warranted or sort of guaranteed to the transferee. All right, we'll look at now at presentment warranties. Just see if I can advance the slide. This is what happened to me last time. Here we go. All right, presentment warranties. These are the warranties that are being made upon presentment for payment. All right, so when you hear the word presentment, remember that. It's about being presented for payment or collection. Someone's trying to collect the money owed that's been represented in the instrument. So what kind of warranties are we looking at? We're looking at 3. So the presenter is entitled, he is warranting that he's entitled to enforce and he's authorized to obtain the payment on the instrument. The presenter is saying the instrument has not been altered, warranting that, and also warranting that he has no or she has no knowledge that the drawer's signature is unauthorized. Basically, that is a good instrument. All right. So that's all I really want you to understand, that there are 2 warranties. I am not terribly interested that you know all the detail of what those warranties consist of, but that you understand there are 2 different warranties, one upon transfer and one upon presentment for payment. Now, we're going to move on and take a look at the 2 defenses that are available if a payment is being demanded. All right, so the 2 defenses are, number 1, universal defenses. The second defense are personal defenses. All right, so you have to get this straight. Make sure you pay attention. Make sure you understand what type of defenses are considered universal and which type are considered personal. Let me try to differentiate for you right now, and then we'll take a quick look at this chart that's in your textbook, so it might help you when you are studying and learning the difference between the 2 types here. Right? So a universal defense is a defense that is good against all types of holders, both ordinary holders and holders in due course. HDC is the abbreviation for holder in due course. So you can catch it here, right? Universal, going to be good defense against everybody, every type of holder. Ordinary and holders in due course. All right? The personal defense, in contrast, is going to be more limited. You can only use or only raise a personal defense against an ordinary holder, someone who does not qualify as an holder in due course. All right, so remember, that's been kind of the thread throughout our discussion of holder in due course. Holders in due course have a more protected status, And just from learning this part about universal versus personal defenses, you can already sense that, right? Because there's only going to be some defenses that are good against a holder in due course, whereas both universal and personal defenses are going to be raised against an ordinary holder. All right? And this is sort of depicted for you in your textbook in this chart that I want to show you. So let me switch out to that. All right. Here it is. I know it's a little small on your screen. If I were to hit the plus button, though, I believe it would probably be too big to show you. But you can find it in your textbook as well. It is Exhibit 27-2, and you'll see that in the blue on the left-hand side, you have the universal defenses, also known as real defenses, and on the right-hand side in the green, you'll have personal, or maybe you'll hear it called limited defenses. All right. Now, the universal defenses are limited in number. I always think of it as limited in number. There seems like there's fewer of them. And we're going to talk specifically about several of them, but let me just read off the list for you here, just so I've heard it once. So universal defenses include 1, forgery, 2, fraud in the execution, 3, material alteration, 4, discharge in bankruptcy, and 5, minority, which will make the contract voidable. All right. Lastly, 6, illegality, mental incapacity, or duress. All right. Those are our limited list of universal defenses against all kinds of holders, including a holder in due course. If you look to the right-hand side, you'll see personal or limited defenses. These are only valid against an ordinary holder, not a holder in due course. What's included there? My catch-all thinking for these personal defenses, I usually just think ordinary kind of contract defenses, what you have studied in Business 12A. All right, but let me go through the list with you, and we'll talk more about the both kinds of defenses in the future. But number 1, we have breach of contract. All right, as a defense. Number 2, lack or failure of consideration. 3, fraud in the inducement or some kind of ordinary fraud. 4, illegality, mental incapacity, or duress. 5, some previous payment or cancellation of the instrument. And 6, some unauthorized completion of or an incomplete instrument and non-delivery. All right, so many of these kind of, to me, just generally fall into the category of contractual defenses. And we just don't see them in many of the examples that we focus on in the remainder of the chapter. All right. What I do want to also point out to you, you're going to see some overlap, don't you? Right. When you look at the list, you'll see that illegality, mental incapacity, duress are on both lists. All right. What distinguishes it, though? All right. If you look at the universal defenses, illegality, mental incapacity, or duress are under universal defenses if state law voids the contract. All right. So if the defense raised under this particular state's law, it voids the contract, it's a universal defense. As a personal defense, if state law does not void the contract, but instead makes the contract or the instrument voidable, it's only a personal defense. So you have to know what state law says in order to examine the defenses being raised. All right. So that also, I'll just stop there. All right. We're going to continue to look a little more at a few of these defenses in part 4, the video for part 4 of the chapter, and we'll look at a problem there as well. It will probably help you, all right, in terms of your understanding.